A nation titled The Best Explanation of Where God Is in Your Pain. Pain is one of the most universal human experiences. It does not ask for permission before entering our lives, nor does it discriminate based on age, faith, wealth, or goodness. One moment life feels stable, and the next moment everything seems to collapse. In these moments, nation, the most common and painful question that rises from the human heart is simple yet profound: where is God in my pain? This question is not asked from rebellion alone. It is asked from exhaustion, confusion, and a deep longing to be understood. When pain overwhelms us, silence from heaven can feel louder than any scream. Explanation. Many people believe that faith should protect them from suffering. They think that if God is truly loving and powerful, then pain should never touch those who trust Him. But real faith does not grow in the absence of pain. It is often shaped within it. Pain does not mean God has abandoned you. In fact, throughout history, explanation, the people who were closest to God often walked through the deepest valleys. Their stories remind us that pain is not proof of God's absence, but often the place where His presence works in unseen ways. When pain enters our lives, our vision becomes narrow. We see only what hurts, what is broken, and what we have lost. It feels as though God has stepped back, watching from a distance. But the truth is that God's work is not always visible. Just as roots grow deep beneath the soil before a tree stands tall, God often works below the surface of our understanding. Silence does not mean inactivity. Absence of explanation does not mean absence of care. Nation, God is not distant from pain because He understands suffering more than we realize. He is not a God who only watches human pain from the safety of heaven. He is a God who entered suffering. He knows betrayal, rejection, loss, physical agony, and emotional loneliness. Because of this, your pain is not foreign to Him. Every tear you cry is known. Nation, every sleepless night is seen. God does not minimize your pain or shame you for feeling weak. Instead, He meets you in your honesty. One of the hardest truths to accept is that God does not always remove pain immediately. We pray for relief, healing, and answers, yet the pain remains. This can feel cruel and unfair. Nation. But sometimes God's purpose is not to remove the storm, but to strengthen you within it. Pain has a way of revealing what comfort never could. It exposes our dependence, our fears, and our deepest questions. In that exposure, God invites us to rely on Him in a way we never did before. God is present in your pain as a comforter. Explanation. Comfort does not mean instant happiness or quick solutions. True comfort means presence. It means someone staying with you in the darkness rather than forcing you into the light before you are ready. God sits with you in your grief. He listens when words fail. He understands the prayers that come out as tears. When you feel too weak to hold on to faith, He holds on to you. Explanation. Pain often isolates us. It makes us feel misunderstood and alone. Even surrounded by people, suffering can create a sense of deep loneliness. In these moments, God becomes closer than anyone else. Human support has limits, but God's presence does not. He is with you when no one else knows what to say. He is with you when your heart feels numb. Explanation. He is with you when faith feels fragile and hope feels distant. Another way God is present in pain is through transformation. Pain changes us whether we want it to or not. The question is not whether pain will shape us, but how. When surrendered to God, pain can soften hearts instead of hardening them. It can create compassion where was judgment, explanation, humility where there was pride, and strength where there was fear. God does not waste pain. Even when the reason is unclear, the growth is real. God is also present in pain through purpose that unfolds over time. Often we demand answers immediately, but understanding usually comes later. Explanation. What feels meaningless now may one day become the very thing that allows you to help someone else survive. Your pain may become your testimony. Your wounds may become a source of healing for others. God weaves purpose into pain slowly, patiently, and wisely. In pain, many people feel angry with God, and they feel guilty for that anger. But honesty is not disrespect. Explanation. God can handle your questions, your frustration, and even your anger. A real relationship allows space for truth. Pretending you are okay when you are not creates distance, not faith. God invites you to come as you are, broken and confused, not polished and strong. Sometimes pain challenges what we believe about God. It forces us to move from shallow faith to deeper trust. Explanation. Faith that only exists when life is good is fragile, but faith tested in pain becomes resilient. It learns to trust God's character even when circumstances contradict comfort. This kind of faith does not ignore pain. It walks through it with courage and honesty. God is present in pain through hope, even when hope feels small. Hope does not mean denying reality. Explanation. It means believing that pain is not the final chapter. Darkness does not last forever. Healing may not come the way we expect, but restoration is always part of God's nature. Even scars can become reminders of survival rather than symbols of defeat. Pain can make prayer feel difficult. Words may feel empty, and silence may dominate. Explanation. But prayer is not about perfect language. Sometimes prayer is simply staying connected. A whisper, a tear, a moment of surrender. God understands prayers that are incomplete in faith that feels weak. He listens not only to what you say, but to what your heart cannot express. God is also present in pain through the people He sends into your life. Explanation. Support does not always come in obvious ways. Sometimes it is a conversation, a message, or a shared silence. These moments are not accidents. They are reminders that God works through human connection to bring comfort and strength. When pain lasts longer than expected, patience becomes one of the hardest lessons. Waiting can feel like punishment. Explanation. But waiting is often preparation. God may be shaping you for something you cannot yet see. Growth is rarely comfortable, but it is always intentional. Even when you feel stuck, God is still moving. The presence of pain does not mean the absence of God's love. Love is not proven by a painless life, but by faithful presence through suffering. God's love is not fragile. Explanation. It remains even when circumstances are harsh. He does not leave when things become difficult. He stays. As time passes, pain may not disappear completely, but it can change. It may become quieter. It may lose its power. Healing is often a process, not a moment. God walks with you through every step, even when progress feels slow. In the end, explanation. Understanding where God is in your pain requires trust more than answers. It requires believing that even when you cannot see Him, He sees you. Even when you cannot feel Him, He is near. Pain may shape your story, but it does not define your worth or your future. God is in your pain as a companion, a comforter, a healer, and a guide. Explanation. He is not waiting for you on the other side of suffering. He is walking with you through it. And one day, whether in this life or beyond it, every tear will make sense. Until then, you are not alone. You never have been.